Picture two houses sitting on the exact same street. House number 1 belongs to a local executive. Right there in the driveway sits a lease-it luxury SUV, maybe 2 years old. The house itself, it's the biggest on the block, beautifully renovated and perfectly landscaped. Now, look next door at house number 2, where the quiet neighbor lives. The sedan in that driveway is roughly a decade old, complete with a dent he's never once mentioned. The house is modest, the mortgage is paid down, and honestly, it's pretty unremarkable. Now, if you had to guess which household on this street is actually wealthy, every single instinct in your body points straight at house number 1. But here is the uncomfortable truth that data just keeps confirming. Those assumptions are very frequently exactly backwards. Hey, I'm Zach, and welcome to Zach Wealth Files. In today's explainer, we are going to dive deep into the math of invisible wealth. We're going to look at why the loudest house on your street is statistically the brokest, and why that quiet one may be sitting on a massive, hidden fortune that you can replicate. So let's get right into it.
So, let's look closer at the executive household. On paper, they might be earning $400,000 a year, but behind closed doors, they are often one layoff away from absolute disaster. They are highly leveraged, heavily subscribed, completely leased, and really liquid poor. They look wealthy, for sure, but it's an illusion. The quiet neighbor, on the other hand, might have a household income of, say, $78,000 a year. They've literally never cracked 6 figures in a single year. Yet, they are sitting on a 7-figure portfolio that's just quietly compounding in the background while they're out mowing their own lawn. You see, true wealth is structurally invisible, and today, we're going to break down the exact framework behind why this happens.
To really understand this, we have to start by entirely demolishing the assumption that a high income naturally equals high wealth. Just look at this number, 38%. According to research by NerdWallet, 38% of American households with incomes of $100,000 or more actually say they live paycheck to paycheck. Let that sink in for a second. And a similar study from CNBC showed this figure has essentially doubled since 2019. That means more than a third of the households earning more than 90% of the country report that their income is fully consumed before the next paycheck even hits their account. The absolutely crucial takeaway here, earning a lot of money does not automatically make you wealthy.
And this brings us to exactly why smart, high-earning people manage to intercept their own wealth. It's called the Diderot effect. It's a documented psychological pattern where every new purchase makes your old things feel, well, inadequate, which triggers this spiraling cycle of consumption. You see, the executive doesn't just wake up one day and decide to be broke. It happens in subtle little increments. The big promotion triggers the neighborhood upgrade. Then the new neighborhood triggers the vehicle upgrade. The vehicle triggers the private school cohort. And that cohort suddenly triggers a new luxury vacation standard. Each step feels totally justified. It's just normal for where we are now. But that is the exact literal mechanism of lifestyle creep.
Decades ago, the brilliant researcher Thomas Stanley, who wrote the classic book The Millionaire Next Door, actually identified this exact household type. He called them the UAW, or the underaccumulator of wealth. High income, high consumption, but a really low net worth. In his studies, he found these UAW households were spending tens of thousands annually on clothing, over $70,000 on vehicles, and nearly $50,000 just on club dues. He contrasted them with PAWs, prodigious accumulators of wealth. These were households with equal or even higher incomes who kept their wealth completely silent, spending just a tiny fraction of that. The UAWs looked rich, but the PAWs actually were rich.
Okay, so if the loud executive in the huge house doesn't hold the wealth, who actually has the money in America? Well, according to a massive study of over 10,000 millionaires conducted by Ramsey Solutions, a full third of them never made 6 figures in any single working year of their entire lives. Crazy, right? And on top of that, only 31% of them even averaged $100,000 a year over the course of their careers. They were teachers, nurses, electricians, warehouse supervisors. Basically, they were that quiet neighbor 2 doors down. They absolutely did not out-earn their way to wealth.
Instead, they out-persisted their way there. The average time it took these individuals to hit their first million was about 17 years. This is so important. Wealth is structurally invisible. It is built through roughly 17 years of quiet, boring persistence rather than a massive, flashy salary. That quiet neighbor isn't hiding his wealth from you in some secret underground bunker. He simply never converted his money into depreciating assets that you can see.
Let's move from the theory into the actual arithmetic over a 30-year period. Take our executive earning $400K. After taxes and a massive lifestyle burn rate, the big mortgage, 2 leased luxury cars, private schools, the club dues, their annual burn is $235,000. So what's actually left over to invest? A measly $5,000 a year. Now let's take our quiet neighbor who earns $78K. Because their modest house and that old dented sedan are paid off, their total burn is just $41,000.
That leaves $24,000 a year, which is roughly $2,000 a month, flowing automatically into low-cost index funds. Now let me hedge honestly here, because returns are never guaranteed. But historically, at an assumed 7% average return over 30 years, the executive builds roughly $260,000. It's real money, sure, but it's incredibly fragile if they ever lose that high-paying job. But the quiet neighbor, that $24,000 annual investment absolutely crushes the executive, historically compounding to roughly $2.4 million.
Think of it like this. The executive's income is a fire hose pointed straight into a sieve. There is tremendous pressure and incredible volume, but it's all just leaking out the bottom to fund the illusion of wealth. The neighbor's income, though, is a drip line pointed at an orchard. It's modest, but it's targeted, it's steady, and over time it grows into something massive and life-changing. Ultimately, the gap between your income and your ego matters infinitely more than your gross income.
Why does the loud lifestyle actively and mechanically dismantle wealth every single time? Well, there are actual physics to status spending that you really need to understand. Number 1, accelerated depreciation. When you lease a luxury SUV, you are essentially renting the steepest part of the depreciation curve. Every dollar spent on a depreciating signal is a dollar that can never, ever work for you again. Number 2, spending is ratcheting, not recurring. Status commitments are like one-way doors. You can't just quietly downgrade the private school or the luxury car without sending a highly visible social signal. So your high burn rate just gets locked in. And number 3, signaling consumes the advertised resource. This is the deepest irony of it all. The performance of wealth actually requires spending wealth. You are quite literally spending your future wealth to advertise an illusion of present wealth. So what do we actually do about this? Here is a concrete framework of silent habits, the Quiet Neighbor's playbook, that you can start using this very week to change your trajectory. Step 1, buy the house you can bury, not just the maximum amount the bank says you qualify for. A paid-off, modest home makes your savings rate structurally high. Step 2, delete the vehicle payment permanently. Own a reliable used vehicle outright. Honestly, avoiding a lifelong cycle of car payments is worth hundreds of thousands of dollars over a lifetime. Step 3, automate the gap immediately. Have your money flow directly into your index funds before you even see it in your checking account. Step 4, freeze your lifestyle on every single raise. Direct that new money straight to your portfolio, not to upgrading your driveway. Step 5, refuse the status subscription stack. Audit your recurring expenses right now. Are they actually for you or are they for your audience? And finally, step 6, stay boring in public. Avoid the performance tax. Every dollar you don't spend on signaling is a soldier that stays in your army, fighting for your future financial freedom.
Now, before we sign off, as always on this channel, we need to look at the honest nuance. These figures and studies represent broad populations and historical patterns. They are not individual guarantees. Also, having a high income is actually a fantastic accelerator for building wealth, but only if you keep it hidden and don't intercept it with lifestyle creep. Furthermore, none of this is a moral judgment on enjoying your money. You absolutely can and should enjoy your life, but do it silently, on your own terms, without feeling the need for an audience. And remember, this explainer is strictly for general education. All real investing carries risk, market returns will always vary, and you should always run your individual situation past a licensed advisor. I want to leave you with this phenomenal quote from financial writer Morgan Housel. Wealth is what you don't see. Remember, the loudest house on your street is very often the most fragile, and the quietest one is very often the most free. They both had the exact same 30 years, but totally opposite outcomes, decided entirely by the silence. If this breakdown changed how you look at your own financial scoreboard, that is exactly what this explainer series is built for. Make sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss our next breakdown. And before you go, tell me down in the comments, who is the quietest wealthy person you've actually met? And what was the one silent habit you noticed about them? I can't wait to read your answers. I'm Zach, and I'll see you in the next one.